know what I told him? Argo, go fuck yourself.
I think that was too Al Pacino-y than Alan Arkin.
Whoa! Argo, go fuck yourself. Hooah!
Argo, released in 2012, and is directed by Ben Affleck, who's behind such great films like Gone Baby Gone, The Town, and Live by Night. And in my opinion, I think he makes a kick-ass Batman. This film has a great ensemble cast, but it mainly consists of Ben Affleck, Bryan Cranston, Alan Arkin, and John Goodman. And this film was nominated for 7 Academy Awards and won 3 of them: Best Film Editing, Best Adapted Screenplay, and Best Picture. And the big story coming out of the Oscars that year was that Ben Affleck wasn't even nominated for Best Director, which is an absolute crime, and we'll get to that here in a second. In 1979, some Iranian activists stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, all because the United States was giving their Shah asylum in our country during the Iranian Revolution. So the majority of workers are taken as hostages. However, there are 6 hostages who escape, and they take shelter in the Canadian embassy in the country. However, they are trapped there for months, and the CIA is trying to come up with ideas of how to get them out of the country safely. Bad idea after bad idea is presented until Tony Mendez comes up with the idea that we get them out posing as film crew. And their reasoning for being in the country was that they were location scouting. And can I just say, I am extremely happy to be picking these out at random now again. My journey to episode 100 and beyond series was great. I talked a lot about my favorite movies, but I kind of like the randomness and not knowing what I'm going to get from week to week. So last week when this one randomly popped up, I was ecstatic. I hadn't seen it in a couple of years. Of course, when I watched it when it first came out, I loved this thing. It has one of the best climactic endings that I've ever seen in cinema. From the moment when he says, "Yep, we're going," and they're off to the airport, my heart rate, my pulse is just going crazy. Every single time I'm sitting on the couch and I feel my arms just start shaking because I'm so nervous for these people. And why am I nervous for these people? Well, I really don't have any context about the history that was going on during that time. Yes, they do frame it for you and give you an idea of exactly what was happening, but in terms of like the emotional responses, I'm clueless. When it comes to politics, or when it comes to politics in the Middle East, I am a complete novice. Do not come to me for a lecture on politics in the Middle East, because I'm going to sound like a kindergartner. So when this movie starts and they're giving you the big explanation, they're talking about how the U.S. granted asylum to the Shah, I'm like, okay, I don't know what that means. Ignorant American, right here. But I think that's why this movie succeeds. It doesn't get bogged down by all of the politics and all of the history that led up to this moment. It gives you a brief plot summary of everything that happened before, and then we're off to the races. These people are angry, and they're so angry that they're probably going to take it out on some American citizens. That's all you need to know. So my first couple times watching this, I am 100% behind the Americans. I grew up during the time of September 11th, so whenever you bring up the Middle East, my mind kind of goes, I was told that they're the bad guys. As I've gotten older and I've gotten out of middle school and high school, where they beat that into your brain of how America is great and everyone else in the world sucks. But when you start to become a little educated on what's going on, you start to realize that, well, they're kind of valid in their anger. Like I said, this film doesn't spend too much time on that. They present the Iranian activists as, yes, they are the villains. They are the wrongdoers. They are the people that we are rooting against. At least those of us here that are watching this movie. And those 6 hostages, they're the people that we're rooting for, and they're the ones that we should be hoping that they get out. And they put the audience's viewpoint in the viewpoint of these people who are being taken captive. If you're from any country, if you go abroad somewhere to a country that they don't speak the language that you speak, and this is happening, I can't even imagine how terrified I would be. Probably something similar to how I was feeling while watching the opening scene of this movie. And then we cut back to America, where we get our main characters from the CIA. Tony Mendez, played by Ben Affleck, who also was directing this thing, for God's sake. His character, I guess, is an escape professional or an escape artist. He's basically that guy that you want coming with you to Escapology, which if you've never tried Escapology, it is a blast. Definitely do it. And when we're in America, the tone of this movie just feels strange. The frame of this movie is placed in the Middle East, where it's dour, it's serious, it's intense, it's thrilling. But then when we're in America, yes, we get that seriousness vibe, but it's also done with humor. It almost feels like two separate movies are being smushed into one. But what's so mind-baffling is that it works. Because when we're in the CIA branches, they're throwing out ideas of how to rescue these people with bicycles. Yes, we're gonna give people bicycles. They're gonna ride their bikes to a place, and we'll pick them up. It's gonna be great. They're gonna get out. Bicycles. That's the best idea that we can come up with, huh? Wow. Thank God Tony Mendez comes in. He was watching a sci-fi flick the night before, and this was the time when a big sci-fi movie was coming out. And after it did, everyone else was trying to do the next big sci-fi picture. And all these sci-fi flicks are trying to be based in these, desolate, sand people-ish environments. What better place to find that than in Iran, in the Middle East? Makes sense to me, and it's the best plan that they came up with. That was one of the best lines in the movie, too. We have nothing but bad ideas, but this is the best bad idea that we have. So Ben Affleck goes off to Hollywood, he gets the approval, and he meets up with John Chambers, played by John Goodman. John Chambers, who is one of the biggest names in the history of Hollywood, one of the best visual effects prosthetic makeup artists that has ever lived. He's the guy behind the Spock ears and all the prosthetics on the Planet of the Apes franchise. Then they meet up with Alan Arkin's character, and they want to make this picture seem real. Alan Arkin's character says, no, this isn't just going to be a front. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it correctly. Ha! I go into Al Pacino every time I do Alan Arkin. But this is the most fun of the movie. These are all the comedic scenes, which is, again, where I was being confused. My emotions are just being toyed with here. Because they do a great job of cutting back just briefly to the Iranian people, just to remind us of what's going on. Or they show the protests in the background, whether on a TV or a newspaper stand. I love all this little attention to detail. Which really brings me to my main point here, that the strongest aspect about this movie is the directing. This was Ben Affleck's third major motion picture that he directed, and again, he knocks it out of the park. I loved Gone Baby Gone, The Town, probably his best movie that he's directed, and then this one. Was there anything that this guy can't do? Yes, that guy who presented himself as that scrawny douchebag from the late 90s is an amazing film director. The attention to detail with the aesthetic of this movie, the energy of this movie never slows down. It just keeps driving forward. These are all signs of a brilliant director. This movie just moves. There is no downtime. Every single scene means something. And like I said, with that climax, the cinematography, the editing, the pacing of it, my body just shakes, just wanting these people to get out. And this is not an action movie at all. I don't think there is a shot that is fired in this film. There's just the threat, and I think that's a brilliant choice. Like I said before, this film did win Best Picture at the Academy Awards, which I think surprised a couple of people. When this film came out, I was in grad school, and I had a couple of Iranian friends who really didn't like this movie. And I would tell them why I enjoyed the movie, and then they would counter with, well, it just made my people seem like we're angry and shouting and protest all the time. I was like, well, yeah, I can't fight you on that. This movie does make Iranian people seem like that mustache-twirling type villain. But again, I wasn't alive back then. This might have been the viewpoint that we as Americans had towards the people in the Middle East. So if we're framing it like that, that's kind of the lens you have to go in watching this movie. Of course, if you're watching it from your own baggage, if you're from the Middle East, you probably despise this thing, and I couldn't fault you for that. But guys, in the end, I think Argo is a great time. It's suspenseful, it's thrilling, but it has a ton of laughs and very light levity humor in this. Ben Affleck is the star of this movie, not from an acting standpoint, he's just fine with his acting, but really it's from his directing. Everything just seems well organized and well paced, and that's all from the mind of a great director. John Goodman, from an acting standpoint, is probably my favorite in this movie. Just all the little jabs that he has towards the idea of Hollywood. So you're coming into Hollywood, acting like a big shot, thinking you know everything, trying to make $1 million. You'll fit right in. That wasn't a bad John Goodman, I think. But the aesthetic, the setup to that amazing climax is great. And then when we get to that climax, you're on the edge of your seat the entire time. I've seen this movie several times, and every time my body is shaking and I'm biting my nails like crazy. I actually feel really bad for my wife, because every time I watch this movie, she either comes home or she comes into the room right when the climax starts. She never gets that build up to that climax. And I just feel bad, because I'm like, you gotta have that build up to your climax before you can get your climax. God damn it. Shouldn't have said that. You know what I mean. I should probably cut this out. I'm probably not going to, though. So basically, that's the message behind this movie, is that to get a climax, you gotta have a good build up to it. There we go. We gotta show this movie in sex ed classes all across the country. I'm going off on a tangent here, so I'm gonna stop myself and just say I'm gonna give Argo 4.5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I think I see blue. looks glorious.
Alright everyone, now comes my favorite part in my videos where I pick the movie that I'm going to be watching next. And just like I said in my last review, I'm going to start taking requests, and I have one here. This is the very first request that I'm doing on Caleb Watches Movies, and it comes from my coworker Kristen Weissner. She has been begging and pleading since finding out that I do this channel to review this movie, Down Periscope, a movie that I had never seen all the way through before. All I knew was that Kelsey Grammer, Beast, Frasier, he is in this thing, and from what I gather watching it, I think it's like a parody of a war submarine movie? Like kind of on par with like Scary Movie and Disaster Movie. Hopefully it's better. But I'm definitely looking forward to checking something out that I've never seen before. Thank you very much, Kristen, for suggesting that. If you have suggestions about movies that you want me to watch, if I have them or if I have access to them, I will definitely do your recommendations. So please comment or post on my Facebook page what you want me to watch. So everyone, have you seen Argo? What did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before, you stumbled across it because of this video, please comment below. Let me know what you thought about it. And when you're done commenting, please like and subscribe to my channel so you know the next time I post my next movie review. Alright everyone, so I'll see you next time with my review of Down Periscope. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.